Hey creators, I'm not joking when I say let's work together and make this creepy Oogie Boogie look. Make sure to like and subscribe. I post new content twice a week, and let's go get creating. So as usual, our first step is using a primer. I'm using the Smooth Primer by Sephora. You can use any primer that you prefer. I'm actually a convert to using primer, so I make sure that this is my first step in any look that I do. So once my primer is all set, I start putting on my foundation. I'm currently using the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter foundation in the color 200. I'm putting small spots throughout my face using my fingers, and then I'm going to blend it in with a large brush. I feel like when you use a brush, you have a more full coverage foundation versus when you use a beauty blender, you have a lighter coverage foundation. And depending on what I'm looking for is how I decide to put it on. I want to make sure with this look I have a very solid foundation for the makeup that's going to be going on top of it, so I went with the brush this time. And please pardon some of the crazy faces I make while applying this look. I don't think that I was paying attention because I decided to do a voiceover instead of talking while I'm putting it on, and I didn't realize the crazy faces that I make. I then started to work on my makeup look using the bright yellow. I start in the corners of my eye using a fluffy brush, and I work my way out with that. After the yellow is all set, I go with the brighter green. I'm using the James Charles X Morphe palette, just like I have in the other videos, and as I will for all of the videos most likely. And I start to put it on top of all of the yellow, leaving some around the corner of the eye open, and I buff my way out from there. And from there I go out with the darker forest green, and I place this on top of both layers that I've already done. Since the dark green is going to be the base of the edge of the eye, I try to get the shape right by making it almost a sideways V to have a cat eye look. The last color I'm going to be using for my eyeshadow is the deep black. Anytime I want to have a darker or a nighttime look, I always put this on the edge of the eye, following along with the shade of the green that I made previously. Once the black is done and all the colors are on the eye, I use a small brush and buff them together so that I have an ombre effect from the yellow all the way to the black. Sometimes when I blend the colors together so that they are more cohesive, I do lose some of the brightness, which is really important because Oogie Boogie has his big bright character. So I go back and I add a little bit of color, just pressing it in and not worrying too much about blending. After I get my eyeshadow done, I start with my eyeliner. Unfortunately, when I was putting it on, I blinked and I got the liner on my lid. I tried to correct it a little bit with some eyeshadow on top of it, and hopefully when I put my lashes on, it's not going to be as noticeable. I would like to say that this is something that I don't do a lot, but I'm super klutzy. So a lot of times when I make a mistake, I try to fix it by adding another color or design element that will hide what I did. Once I finish with my eyeliner, I add some eyeshadow underneath my eye, underneath the liner, wrapping it around my eye to have a more cohesive eye look. My next step is adding a little bit of mascara. I know that I'm going to be using lashes later on, but I feel like when you have mascara already on your lashes, it makes the fake lashes actually stick a little bit easier and look a little bit more put together. After my eyes are completed, I use my Fenty concealer shade 185. Not only do I use it as a concealer, but I also use it as a little bit of a highlighter, which means that I use a shade lighter than I normally would use. Because of what's going on in the world right now, I wasn't able to actually try what shades I am, so I feel like both my foundation and my concealer are a little bit off. I did get the help of my local Sephora beauty insider, but I'm not sure if this is the best color or not, but it does work for what we're doing now. I might be going back and getting a different color. Using the brighter green in the James Charles palette, I start to contour at the top of my head, and then I'm going to go around my face and then sculpt out my cheeks as well as under my chin. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention, I also add some green to my ears, just in case I want to take my hood off and my wig this time is a little bit shorter than it normally is. So if you see my ears, it would make more sense if they had some green on them. After I go in with the brighter green, I put the forest green on top so that the contouring is more multi-dimensional. Because of the fact that I don't have too many brushes in my everyday makeup kit, I'm going to be using the baby pink and the very bright pink in the James Charles Morphe palette as my blush. And I start at the apples of my cheeks and I go up to my temple. I also add a little bit on the top of my nose, and on the tip of my nose I go in with a little bit of yellow, the same yellow that I used on my eyes. My next step is going to be adding some spiders to my face. For my lips, I'm going to be using the Sephora brand Satin Cream lipstick in the shade Cash Money. And on top of that, I'm going to be using the NYX liquid lipstick in the shade Oil Spill that I used in the first video that I did. It was at this point that I realized that I forgot to put on my highlight. I'm using the ABH Moonchild palette in the shade Lucky, which is this really pretty green white color, and I'm just adding that to my cheeks and the top of my nose. I decided to add a spider at the corner of my mouth so that it would look like I was almost eating him. Once my spider was all set, I started to apply my lashes. I always blow on the lash glue to let it get tacky before I place them onto my eyes. And these lashes actually have a little bit of a bling on the corner of it so that when my lights hit it, it's going to glow along with my face. Once I get my lashes secure, I put a little bit of eyeliner on top just so that the glue doesn't show or any of the coloring in between the lash, my eyelashes, and my eyeshadow. Once I finish with my lashes, I add one more spider on the top of my eyebrow, almost right at my temple. I add a little bit more yellow on the tip of my nose, and that is my finished look. Make sure to like and subscribe. I post content twice a week other than during the 13 days of Halloween, and I can't wait to see you next time.